Welcome to the Flex Forward podcast, where grit meets growth. With your host, Nic Espanet, bringing you stories of resilience, reinvention, and the real climb to success.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Flex Forward podcast. I'm blessed to be joined today with Jimmy Edwards. I've known Jimmy probably for 8, 9, maybe 10 years, just in the real estate world and just hanging out. It's been great to get to know him. But Jimmy is a partner at High Five. Is it Equity or High Five Properties?
Multifamily.
High Five Multifamily, where they do multifamily, but they also do some single family stuff. I'll let him give more information on that. Jimmy, welcome to the show. I'm glad to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's always good to connect with you.
Awesome. Can you tell us a little more about what you guys do at High Five?
Yeah. So we started in the single family space in 2013. I've been investing since 2011. And then prior to that was, in finance, doing mortgages and other investment real estate, for principals in a broker capacity. But man, we did good and flipped, 100 houses from 13 to 17. And I guess that's really only 4 years, but it felt like a decade. And then 2017, 2018, found out about multifamily and, kind of brought the same attitude. We do value add stuff, and a lot of C2B value add, and we're here in DFW, and we've been in other markets, but we've kind of realigned our focus, mostly DFW right now. So
awesome, great stuff. So in that realm or in the real estate world, there's a lot of competition out there. What's something that sets you apart, or you found that helps bring you up and has helped you have success?
I think that what I'm realizing and what has always kind of been evident is, spreadsheets don't always tell the full story, right? And so I think that, we learn as humans, we learn from our mistakes. And I think that fortunately we were able to learn a lot of valuable lessons, one deal at a time in single family that weren't, totally debilitating, right? So a bunch of little, 100 little things add up to, a lot of experience. And, I think that as we get deeper and deeper into AI, you can have a million data points, but if you don't know how to manage it, it doesn't do you any good, right? So I think really just, understanding people and experience.
Yeah, people and experience. You guys, by doing that many single family homes, like you said, you learned, and with fewer zeros on the single family homes, that a lot of valuable lessons that carry over into the multifamily world. And you talked about people too. I think, having those relationships, I think that's something you really excel in, getting to know people. We became friends at 16, 17, somewhere around there. And, have communicated off and on throughout that time. So is there something that you feel, and that may be what this is, something that you feel comes easy to you that may be difficult for other people?
I think it's, really communication, right? And I think that most businesses are people businesses, even if they're delivered, from a different vantage point, right? And, humans are humans, and I think we want to be treated as such, and I think that we've been really successful, and you probably have been too, that, even though a lease may be in black and white or a contract may be in black and white, talking on a personal level with people and being able to connect and solve problems is ultimately, I think going to be the longest lasting skill of evolution, so yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Because AI can never have that human touch. It's, getting out there with either your investor or your staff, your property management staff.
Yep.
If there's a challenge, and understanding them and communicating, and I think that's important on an investor side with our investors, is when there's challenges going on at a property, is communicating with them. And, I find myself sometimes wanting to shoot a text or an email. I'm like, hey, let's hop on a call. And because I think sometimes that something typed out in either a text or email, somebody may read more into it and into your tone. Is like, let's, I try to get on a call anytime I can over sending, unless it's a factual, like here's a number. If it's something that has some of that gray area, getting on a call with somebody goes so much further.
100%. And I think that, it allows both sides to connect more, which ultimately, with connection, you can solve problems, right? So, as you're able to um, interpret, right,
Sure.
whatever the case may be, I mean, I think that it's huge.
That's awesome. So if someone's listening that may want to get better at something, if you had like a podcast or a book or anything or something, just something that you've done that you could suggest to some of our listeners that they may do to help improve themselves in somewhere in life.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I consume a lot of information, and I see you got a lot of books too. I order books faster than I can read them, but I commit to reading 10 pages of a book every morning, and
Nice.
that really for me has been a total change in my perspective and my attitude in my daily life. Right? I mean, for a decade, I would wake up and go right into my emails or whatever, and I've learned that for me, it's been important to take 30 minutes to not get distracted by the devices, and with my coffee, sit down and read 10 pages, and sometimes it's 30 pages, right? And some mornings I want to cut out quicker, but it's all self-help books. I'm reading The Art of the Deal right now, which is
Uh,
fascinating. I mean, it was written in 1987, but nothing's changed,
no,
which is
I,
incredible.
yeah, I probably read that 10, probably 7, 8 years ago. I need to reread it. Just
Yeah, it's incredible. And he was doing lots of deals when, New York was bankrupt, and it's fascinating. So, at night my brain is tired, and I can't concentrate enough to read. So really just, you can listen to podcasts and, all of these things, but for me, just reading a couple pages a day has been
when it's
huge.
awesome that I think there are two takeaways from that. One is reading the 10 pages, but getting it done in the morning. Because
Yeah.
if you say, "Oh, I'm going to do it before somewhere in the day," you get busy. Next thing you know, you're sleepy. You want to get to bed, and read 2 pages, and your head's hitting the book potentially.
Yeah.
So two lessons there is get those important things done early before
Yep.
your day gets full because it will fill up, and then reading. So I did the 75 hard challenge, and one of
Yeah.
the things is reading 10 pages a day, and I still read a little bit every day, but I need to get back to getting I knocked out in that 6 week 75 days, not it's a little more than 6 weeks. I mean, I need to go back and count, but I knocked out a few books
Yeah.
in that time. And a couple
Yeah.
times I had later nights where we had something going on, and we had a Peloton. I'd get on there and do my reading while I'm
Love it. Yeah.
cycling. But good stuff. So, what about any challenges? What's one of the biggest challenges you've had to overcome in your career or life? I mean, ideally, in what you're doing now, but even before that, you have something you might want to share.
I have realized that at this point I'm probably not employable. And I think that, my life experience, I felt a lot more satisfied and a lot happier by, you know, not plugging away every day for the man. But that was not something that I knew or was, taught. Very feel like blue collar background. Went to college, didn't plan on that, but did it anyways. Ended up getting a degree in finance real estate. And in my very last semester, the professor had us read Rich Dad Poor Dad. And that
Oh, cool.
totally changed my life, right? So, there's years, months, years where, sometimes you don't make any money, and then there's months, years where you make a lot of money, and it's up and you have ups and downs, you have different emotional reactions and feelings driven by dopamine, but at the end of the day, being in control of your destiny is really rewarding.
That's awesome. And same way, and I was in not so much corporate healthcare for over 10 years, and
Yeah.
I'm the same way as you are. I don't think I'm very employable, right? I still have my PT license, but I haven't seen a patient in 5 years, so
Right.
it would be a lot of trying to recall how that all worked. But I ought to start keeping track. But I think probably 85% of the people that have been on the podcast say that Rich Dad Poor Dad changed their life, and
100.
just got it. It did mine too. It just gets you thinking about how, big takeaway for me is have money work for you instead of working for money. Because if not,
Yep.
you're always going to be working for money. You're never going to get ahead. I mean, until you hit the grave. Almost at that
Yeah.
point is when you got to keep working.
And I think that the biggest the ultimate goal, right? Like financial freedom is up there, but I think ultimately, at least for me and probably most other people you included, is what being financially free really does is gives you more time, right? And that's something we're not going to get back. And as you build this pyramid, as you're sculpting your life, right? Like that's the ultimate goal is having time, and then having the funds to be able to do whatever you want with the time, right? And so
Exactly.
that's the picture.
Yeah, getting that freedom with the capital to do it. And, what we do, we can do it from anywhere. You just need a laptop really. I mean, now
Right.
when you're early in the asset management side and construction, you probably need to be on site more. But once the properties are up and running, you can hit the road for weeks or even a couple of months if you got a team that are doing things. So great stuff. So Jimmy, as you begin, as people start to have more success in different careers, they may start thinking about different ways that they can, talking about having that freedom. And one of them is passive income. You don't, we do a more active role in it, but what are your thoughts on people, different ways to create passive income that may supplement somebody's income or even replace it at some point?
Yeah. I mean, again, I think that, obviously real estate, investing in multifamily has been, my main purpose. I don't have a backup plan. I don't have, an IRA. I don't have a 401k. I don't have a retirement plan. I have, millions of dollars invested in real estate and about half of a Bitcoin. And that's it. And I don't,
That's your backup plan at
that's my
half a
backup plan,
Bitcoin.
half a Bitcoin. And I think that, I don't say that to brag. Other people might even think it's silly. But it's just I believe in real estate enough to be all in, and I think that also allows people to jump in deals with us and follow along, and we make them money. But when your money makes money, again, is when you can get more freedom. And I just feel like, even if I ever did, lose it all, I know I could do it again, right? And so I think that, again, just going back to experience and understanding, some of the best deals you are the ones you don't do, right? And being
For
able to
sure.
identify that, and I think cash flow is one of the most important parts, right? Like that's why we got into multifamily, is being able to add value to an asset while the renters are paying your expenses.
Exactly. No, good stuff. I'm very much, and I have one small Roth that we couldn't cash out. That's all I have left, and we just invest that, and it's growing, but
Yeah.
it's only because I can't close it out.
Yeah.
But everything else is in multifamily. I don't even have the half Bitcoin backup, but in real estate will go up and down.
It will.
There's been downturns, but every cycle always comes back up. And if
Yep.
you stay in it long enough, it's going to grow. People need places to live, and it's buying smart. Like no deal. Sometimes passing a deal is the best deal, but if you're buying somewhere where population's growing, job growth is occurring, even in those downturns, you may get beat up a little bit, but eventually it's going to swing back up and just weather that storm, and there'll be another up cycle. And that's the resilience, and I think the entrepreneurial mindset of you know you you don't want to get beat up through the downturn and then go do something different because you've learned a lot through that time period, and take those lessons. And I think people that come out of the other side of those are going to be much better operators and owners going forward.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people switch lanes, and I was pretty adamant about it, every time we hit some turbulence to double down. And as we were talking about, Roth, another thing popped in my head. I converted my self-directed IRA to cash in a down year because I could take the depreciation more so than my IRA was allowing. And I think that's another thing, right? Like, investing in vehicles that give you passive income is the number one goal, right? We want money, but if that money also gives you paper losses, so then you have more money to then make more passive income with, then you're building faster, right? And I think that again, like, we've got bonus depreciation back, and
that's awesome.
It's huge, right? And building wealth isn't, always by working harder. It's understanding the rules and using them to your advantage, right? So
and that's a good point. Or bringing somebody that understands it, because neither one of us are CPAs, but you probably have a very good CPA on your team.
Yeah.
We have one, and learning from them and seeking their advice. Surround yourself with people that are smarter than you is the way to go. I never want to be it's not very hard, but I never want to be the smartest one in the room. That's not a hard goal, but no, it's getting people that know those things that you can learn from and grow in. So good stuff. And you hit something very important is the bonus depreciation coming back recently is going to be helpful, because if you're making that investment and then you and your investors can reduce their income tax burden, that's more money in their pocket at the end of the day, which you don't see it. You're not saying, all right, we're giving you more dollars, but it's the government's taking fewer dollars from you is a huge gain overall. But Jimmy, as for wrapping up the interview, what are any plans or initiatives, anything you have in the works for the next 6 to 12 months?
We're buying. We've been a net buyer for the past 3.5 years. We sold a lot in 2022. I think the most important part of investing is not getting greedy. If it makes sense to keep moving, and just to build. I think we focus a lot on systems integration and building a platform to where we can to scale, and just to your point, finding the right people to help us do that. I think Who Not How is the book that I was thinking of. That is probably my second behind Rich Dad Poor Dad.
That's awesome. One book you might want to look into that helped me is The Road Less Stupid. Was
okay.
I just had it sitting right here. That Keith Cunningham. This has been a good.
Oh yeah.
Last time that I finished.
It's been a long time since I read that. I need to read it again.
It's nice. It's been a good read that I'm working on that one. And I'm also in a book club with a workout group that I go with, but we're doing right now the Why You Sleep. It's a little bit scientific, but going into the importance of sleep, just for all kinds of other health reasons, like your diabetes, weight gain, just heart attacks, all kinds of cool stuff. Well, Jimmy, thank you so much for your time today and joining us. If any people wanted to get in touch with you or find out more about what you guys are doing, what's the best way to reach out to you?
Yeah, just go to our website. It's high5multifamily.com, spelled out HIGHFIVE, multifamily.com. Contact us, get in touch, and start connecting.
Awesome. Yeah, I strongly recommend you guys connect with Jimmy. They've done a lot of good stuff. He's a good guy. So, Jimmy, thank you so much for joining today. I really enjoyed visiting with you.
Likewise. Thanks, Nick.
Thanks for listening to the Flex Forward podcast. If you've got grit, growth, and a great story, visit flexforwardpodcast.com/guest to apply and join us on the show.